sorry if I'm a little fucking snip. I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children.
What's up, everybody? We're back. That music is really loud. I'm going to turn it down. Hang on a second. There we go. As much as I love our intro, it's very in your face. Much like CM Punk's disdain for Hangman Adam Page and other members of the AEW roster. But, yeah. I'm afraid to even talk about CM Punk anymore because I don't want to like cause drama. But I think that's maybe the most relatable thing that man has ever said in his entire career. Anybody that has ever had a job, no matter what job it is, there are definitely times when I think most of us can be like, yeah, I'm old, I'm hurt, I'm fucking tired, and I work with fucking children.
Yep.
So
that was me 2 jobs
ago. Yeah, that was me yesterday.
Nice.
But anyway,
that would explain why it's in the thing. Okay.
Yeah, kind of something like that. But yeah, man, haven't been doing this show for the last few weeks. It's been a total fucking nightmare with my internet at my new place, and somehow found a company worse than Comcast, and that's known as Consolidated. They are the worst, and I also live in the middle of the woods, so it's even worse. It's really bad, and then it's even worse. So. That's the deal there. So I think I've resorted to the fact that I might have to just start doing this show here, in this lovely room at my mother's dwelling, and yeah, because it's just I'm not even gonna bother anymore. I just like threw in the towel. There might be another solution. I might be able to have a direct in with the Ethernet cable, but even then, I don't know. It might be kind of unstable.
That is the preferred way to do this. That is like what I'm doing with my tower here. Because when I started doing this in the very beginning, I was doing Wi-Fi, and then I got a long Ethernet cord, and it got a little bit better for a while, and then properly better.
Yeah. No, the bad internet thing has almost become a gimmick at this point for me. Yeah. It's like no matter where I am, I'm in the middle of the fucking woods, and the internet sucks. So that's the deal there. But yeah, man, as I said, we haven't been here for a couple weeks, but a lot has gone down in the pro wrestling world in those 2 weeks. All sorts of happenings, a lot of news. It would take us forever to sort of get into it all, but I think the big topic this week, at least, is WWE Money in the Bank. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch the show because, again, no internet, and I've had work and 4th of July weekend. It's been absolute mayhem around here, but I heard this was a really good show.
It was. It was. I would say Forbidden Door was better by a mile. It's not that this show wasn't bad. It's just, to me, nothing properly stood out.
Okay. The big news coming out of the show: Roman Reigns taking a pin.
Yep.
The first time in over 3 years, I believe, something crazy like that.
Baron Corbin.
The last pinfall was against Baron Corbin, of all people, and that was before the pandemic. So this was the first post-pandemic pinfall on Mr. Reigns here, and that in and of itself is, I think, pretty big news, and showing obviously the cracks in the bloodline. I know that story's been continuing. Jey Uso, the one that of all people to pin Roman, and
funny enough, a friend of mine pointed out to me that Jey Uso was also the first person to give Roman Reigns a pinfall loss on the main roster way back when, in the days of the Shield.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. So it's full circle. I wonder if they're going to touch on that.
I was just talking about the Shield recently. Like this is kind of maybe going off topic a little bit, but not really because it involves Roman. But that like the Shield as a group is one of the most important things to happen in the history of pro wrestling, at least in the modern era.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was almost like this turn. I think 2013 is when they debuted, and where it was like
Series 20. No, it was.
Yeah, it was 2013. 2013 Survivor Series or 2012. Was it really 12?
2012 because they competed at WrestleMania 29, which was 2013, because they debuted to help Punk. And if they debuted in 2013, then Punk would have been gone within a couple months after that because he left it like in January 2014. So no, it was 2012. But Roman Reigns, so like, oh yeah, you know, I've heard this for a long time, and I didn't believe it for a long time until recently. Like this notion that the Shield is one of the most important.
Oh yeah.
Things in wrestling history. It's like I had a hard time believing it for a long time, but now I get it.
Yeah, well, it makes. I mean, if you look back at retrospect over the last decade of pro wrestling, like it's such an important thing because, like, as you mentioned, a lot of people don't remember this, but they actually debuted to help CM Punk.
Yeah.
So CM Punk has gone on record to try to take credit for this, pitching it to Vince or whoever at the time. And being like, okay, I want a 3-man group to sort of help me. They're going to be these, it's like a army gear kind of type of thing. And at that point, when it was originally like being pitched to creative, I believe that Chris Hero was in line to have Roman's spot, which
Roman Reigns was last minute.
There's a wild alternate universe right there where Chris Hero is the guy in the Shield. And I almost feel like, how many groups have we seen over the last decade that debut to like help somebody or just groups in general? Almost every single one of them leads to breakup, right? Like Vince loves to put guys together and then break them up, for heat. And the Shield, obviously they had their breakup, but like, man, what a moment too, that the eventual this is such a massive moment. And like, yes, it was inevitable that they broke up, but like, how many of those other groups have failed? But
also, they threw out the curveball because it wasn't who you expected to turn on them.
Right. You thought it was going to be Dean or Moxley at the time. A lot of people did, at least.
Yeah.
I was kind of secretly hoping it was going to be Roman, but I figured he's lined up to be the guy eventually. But I remember like watching that live.
Me too.
Being like, holy fucking shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even super into pro wrestling at that point. I had been a few years earlier, but that was like what really got me back into it to like start watching it regularly again. And then you got like the Wyatt family stuff going on too. Like, so
there was that 4-month period there where you had the pay-per-view against the Wyatts and a match against Elimination Chamber, and then two matches back-to-back against Evil fucking Lucian.
Yeah.
And both were gangbusters. Like that. Yeah. They pulled the plug at like the hottest you could possibly have somebody be.
Right. And that's a good thing you mentioned there. But I also kind of wanted the point to make about all this is that like how many of these other groups have been put together and then fail? And like we don't talk about them, like the guys that are just mid-carders from there on out, like that kind of stuff, right? The Shield really sticks out because yes, they debuted as like Punk's bodyguards, but then they got over on their own as a group, as a 3-person group, and really were established as baby faces. And all 3 of those guys, like you look at it, Roman Reigns, the guy for WWE, right?
Yep.
Seth Rollins, really, their other guy. They kind of, Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, AEW's guy.
Yeah.
So the fact that these 3 guys have been so successful over the last decade on their own really kind of, I was thinking about like pulls them back to when did wrestling really start to like start firing on all cylinders again? Like this last decade or so of pro wrestling has been just so fucking awesome and memorable in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's different than the Attitude Era, but it's like, feels like a rejuvenation for a lot of fans. Like, all right, it's exciting to watch wrestling again. Yes, WWE's had their ups and downs. AEW's had their ups and downs. New Japan, they've all had their ups and downs. But there's always something to watch and get excited about, whether it's the Bloodline or the BCC Elite feud right now, or like any of the stuff, CM Punk, whatever it is.
It was,
and that to me felt like the turning point over anything else was the debut of the Shield and how important that was.
I can probably tell you, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people agree with this. The moment that switch flipped was the pipe bomb.
And the pipe bomb promo too. But yeah, I think that
was what started it.
Okay, I mean, I'm trying to think like timeline-wise. That was a little bit before, right?
That
was
point,
like 20. Was that 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
At that point, nobody really gave a shit about wrestling. We just had John Cena, defeat all of the Nexus. We just had all that shit. Like
Cena and Orton for a million years feuding.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was at its creative worst. And then like to the point like barely anybody was watching. The numbers, like people were still watching, but it wasn't compared to what it was.
Or people might have been watching TNA at that point,
right? And then all of a sudden they gave CM Punk the mic and say, "Here you go, say whatever you want," and like everything just blew up.
Yeah.
Like websites were going down. The traffic was insane because people were like, "Did he just say this? I gotta see this." And then it was after that where you saw WWE start taking a little bit more risks. While still, doing the same old bullshit, but still taking a little bit more risks.
Vince,
and then within a year, you get the Shield, and then after that, you get them breaking up, and then you get the next generation.
The Wyatt family mentioned in there, and then all this stuff. It was almost like a domino effect, right? And then at the same time, a couple years later, you had or actually very close to around where you had the Shield debut. You also had the Bullet Club. The formation of the Bullet Club, which we know where that's gone over the years, and then New Japan sort of being in the spotlight a little bit more, and then you had like Omega and Okada and like all this stuff. So it was almost like that pipe bomb was the first domino to fall, and then like the Shield was like the real big one, and then everything kind of moved forward from there, and where we're at today.
Basically, the pipe bomb was the lighting of the fuse. And then the debut of the Shield is when the fuse ran out and everything.
Yeah. That's a good point. But no, it's just funny to think about, like looking at where we are now in 2023, like over a decade later, and the fact that all three of those guys, you got Roman Reigns, stuff was going on with Roman, and like Seth is still a huge deal.
The biggest, probably the best champ since Austin. Like since Cena, in terms of stature, in terms of like, this guy's here. Like this is the guy.
Yeah, and it kind of like make me think about it and wonder, like, where would Roman be if it wasn't for the Shield? Where would Seth be if it wasn't for the Shield? Would he still be like Tyler Black on the Indies, bouncing around? What would that look like if Chris Hero had been the guy? Like, would he be where Roman is now? Probably not. They'd probably have somebody else, and he'd be off doing his own. Or he might be so upper, main eventer, but not like
a little bit further than that. If they had let Moxley and Mick and Moxley's program had gone through, if Mick Foley hadn't been told you're never to wrestle again, could you imagine?
Right.
Like where would he be?
Yeah.
So it's 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun to look about and think about, like the possible alternate, timelines of it all. But right. Wrestling what if. But I mean, we talked a little bit about Roman, but Seth also, I think, mentioned him still in the mix. And you had Damian Priest win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and I feel like
which was a nice little touch. That was a great match, by the way. That was a really good match. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights from that.
No, I heard about it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. So there was a spot with Ricochet and Logan Paul.
I heard about this one.
Yeah,
yikes.
Holy shit. They both landed on their heads through the table. And how they both got up from that is a miracle.
What was the worst looking spot? Was it that one, or was it Kenny Omega taking that Tiger Driver where he landed straight on his fucking head in that match against Ospreay? They both sucked, but which one looked worse?
What? I'm gonna go with the spot from this weekend because
really. Okay.
Because the room for error on that was a lot bigger. Whereas you could tell with Will Ospreay, like they know what they're doing enough to do that move safely.
Right. Whereas, like it's never safe to get dropped on your head, but they can do it.
Never to get dropped on your head, but there's a way to do it, which they did. Whereas opposed to this table spot, oh shit.
Kenny Omega's wrestling on Dynamite this week against Wheeler Yuta, and then he's not in the hospital. So
luckily though, like Triple H said, the worst injury that came out of that is somebody rolled rolled their ankle while walking to the back after the match. Like that says a lot. But everyone thought LA Knight was going to win, and then all of a sudden Damian Priest wins, and I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, this is going to be interesting."
Well, he's not cashing in on Roman, so it makes me think. I mentioned Seth. He's probably going to cash in on Seth at some point.
Yeah,
but
which is cool that they're going to do this. They're going to play it in with Finn Balor, this whole struggle that they're having right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, it seems too early.
Yeah. I just feel like Vince is very much back in the mix, like booking this shit again.
Yeah.
And that's what, no one wants to talk about it. Everybody's still in denial about it, like how involved he actually is.
No one's in denial about it anymore.
I don't know, man.
No, it's pretty much even with everyone in the back, everyone's like, it is what it is. Like they are actively trying to find ways to get Vince to stop meddling at this point.
Yeah. But the problem is he will continue to meddle. Mm-hmm. And if there's plans, like Brian Alvarez was talking the other day, there's all these plans. Like they have a plan for Damian Priest, and they have a plan for Cody to beat Roman at WrestleMania. Again, I've heard that one before. But it's Vince, so he could change his mind. And I was yelling at him in the chat about this. I'm like, Brian, you say these are plans, but you also got to factor in these are not. There's a very good chance these aren't going to actually play out the way that they have planned right now because Vince just changed his mind. So that's all I'm saying. Like when it comes to all this, like, yeah, they might have plans right now, but it's plans change, pal. All the fucking time. So yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I am interested though. I do think that as you see her right behind us here. Io Shirai winning the women's Money in the Bank. I like that.
Spot. Yeah,
I like that a lot.
And you know what's awesome? That was my pick to win that match. That was my wild card pick in the Cultaholic thing. But no, I love that ending because it's so creative. Yeah, and it was set up earlier in the match, and you're like, okay, Becky's just going to be able to use this as a weapon now, and all of a sudden you see this, and it's so good. And then what I love is Becky. I couldn't stop looking at her the whole time that you guys celebrating because you can tell she's just like, fuck.
Yeah, so I think I'm really glad they didn't have her just cash in right away because there was like 3 or 4 years in a row there. It felt like the woman would win the Money in the Bank at the beginning of the show and then cash in at the end of the show, and like every single year, and it got to the point where it's like, okay, I've seen this a lot already. Well,
this is the
like at least have her hold on to it.
This is the first year too that Vince hasn't booked the women's Money in the Bank. He is still doing things, but what I understand, it's only certain things. It's not all of it.
But he still has a say on everything, and he has to sign on everything. Yeah, even if it's going through Hunter or whoever. But look, no, I mean back to my original point. This is a similar situation with the Roman thing, where it's like I don't think Io cashes in on Mommy because I feel like needs to have a big reign here, a big dominant reign. But you have Asuka in the mix, and Io versus Asuka. Sign me the fuck up for that feud.
That would be a banger of a match.
Yeah.
Rhea's quote unquote too hot right now to take the title off of her.
In more ways than
yeah.
We don't have to be crude here on the show. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know if there's anything else about Money in the Bank that you wanted to bring up. Any other?
Of course, the main event, like Jay, like we talked about it earlier. I would actually go and watch that match. I watch any of the pay-per-view main event bloodline matches, honestly, for the storytelling alone. Like this was some good shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
As much as shit I give Vince and WWE's creative, they got some good stuff in there. Yeah. Like there's just a lot of shit that you have to wade through to get to the
are good.
The matches are always good. Yeah.
They always deliver when they need to.
Yes. Oh, another Money in the Bank thing I wanted to bring up. We had the return of Drew McIntyre, who I think a lot of people that there were reports that his time with the company might be winding down. We didn't have a time frame at that point. People were like, that maybe then he'll debut it All In because it's in England and everything for AEW. But then their reports elaborated saying no, his contract's not actually up until next year, till 2024. So obviously he's going to be with WWE for a bit, but there was like some disagreements, and he still hasn't signed another extension or another contract yet. The thing I read today, I think might have been from Sean Ross Sapp or somebody, but it was saying that the reason that hasn't happened yet, those talks haven't happened yet, is because there's still so much time left on his contract.
Yeah,
so
I read the same report. And also we forgot, unexpectedly, nobody saw this coming. John Cena appearing at Money.
Yeah.
He was in the area shooting something. So
hyping up the possibility of WrestleMania in London just to one up AEW for having the biggest, or whatever it's going to be, biggest gate in wrestling history in England. So then WWE goes, no, because we're going to do 2 days and we're going to sell even more tickets.
The pop when John Cena's music hit. Wow. Like,
isn't that funny? Like, and he even brought it up, like saying
brought it up in the freaking promo.
Wait, you aren't booing me? You aren't singing John Cena sucks?
Yeah.
It's like, no, people have moved on past that, because here's why. He's not being shoved. He's not being shoved down our throats. They've made it a special attraction when John Cena appears for WWE.
Well,
and that's what they need to do. You got to get excited for it. Or when it happens out of the blue, it's exciting because it's a surprise. Yeah.
Not just that, but the wrestling fan now appreciates John Cena for everything he did.
Yes, for his career.
That's what it is. Like, yes, they've been shoved down our throat.
Yeah.
But that happens in every generation.
Right. Maybe that's what we felt 10 years ago or whatever it was.
But then you look back on it, and this guy like held the company on his back for a good decade. Like the injuries that he came back from way faster than anybody should. The moments he gave us, everything
he's done for charity, for WWE's charities.
Everyone's finally like, okay, we understand why we're on board. Yeah.
He just seems like, you have your massive stars, right, in pro wrestling, and some of them can be a little controversial, like CM Punk or whoever. But then you got guys like John Cena who just come off as the most genuine, like really, really great person. You know what I mean? At their core. I think Dwayne comes off this way as well. I mean, Dwayne has to have a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
But it's because he's fucking Dwayne. But like,
I think that's the difference between the two, is the ego.
Yeah. Cena doesn't seem to really have an ego. Yeah. So no, it's that's kind of cool. But yeah, so moving on here, we'll talk a little Forbidden Door, because we had that show happen.
It was a good fucking show.
since the last time. Big breaking news coming out of that show. I think, well, there were a few, but I think the one that everybody was talking about the most was probably Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay 2.
Yeah.
A lot of expectations going in. How the hell are they going to top the first match that they had at the Tokyo Dome earlier this year that is not only, I think, on the top of everybody's list for, not everybody, but a lot of people's list of match of the year, at maybe one of the greatest matches of all time. And I think it's safe to say that they delivered. I would say they at least matched the first one.
I agree, and here's why.
I don't know if they topped it, but I think they matched it.
Here's why. I agree with you, and here's why. Because the first match, everything went off perfectly, and everything made sense. For me, in this one, the only thing holding it back is Don Callis.
Yeah.
Isn't
that funny? Because remember I've said that like on our last show. I was like, "Oh, is Callis going to get involved in the finish here?"
Yeah.
And you were like, "No, they can't do that," but they did, and it was like the one blemish to this whole thing, because the booking kind of was like it didn't really call for it. I mean, there's a lot of story going on with Don Callis, but I think the problem that's the main problem. You booted him, and then he comes back, and they're just like, "Ah, it's fine."
In front of the referee, and it's just like, okay.
What? All right.
Like if you wanted to, what should have happened? Callis shouldn't have been out there in the first place.
Yes.
And then
you bring him in.
Then you bring him in. Then do everything else the same.
Yes, I completely agree. That's how you fix it. And then this becomes possibly the greatest match of all time. But
my fucking God, like,
holy shit!
In this match, and like we alluded earlier, the Tiger Driver 91.
Wow. God, I'm glad Kenny Omega's okay after that one.
Yeah. Was it this match where we got the Oz cutter on the apron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, fuck me. Like, the spots in this match were intense. It basically was the role reversal. This time it was Ospreay taking the pound into to Omega, which was interesting. Both were bloody beyond belief. Like, this was an all-out war.
It was, yeah. Kenny getting the majority of the offense in the first match, and then like really like times where he totally took over and beat the shit out of Ospreay, and then it was reversed here where it kind of went the other way, and Ospreay took control of the match for most of the match, like kind of at the end, like maybe the final third of the match, and was really just beating the shit out of Omega. But yeah, I think they're now 1-1. Kenny Omega won the first one. Will Ospreay wins the second one. Rubber match in front of 70,000 people in Ospreay's home country, London, England, at All In Wembley Stadium. I think you gotta have it, right?
You gotta. The third act of this match. Holy shit!
How are they gonna top these two matches? Like,
right? Like
they will, though. I feel like they will.
The Angel on Omega, who kicks out at one. Motherfucker, you're not gonna do this to me, like. The crowd just off their feet.
That's like, okay, so the one-winged angel, even people that aren't Kenny Omega hit it. Yeah. You don't kick out of that move.
No.
And there have only been, I think, 3 kickouts of said move in the history of the move.
The first one being Hangman.
The first one being Kota Ibushi in the early years of Ibushi Omega in Japan. Okay. The second one was when Hangman hit the one-winged angel on Kenny Omega in their match for the title, and Kenny kicked out. And then this one here, Ospreay hit it on Omega, but he kicked out at 1. No one's ever kicked out at 1 other than Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
so that was an awesome spot.
And then the other one, this is the one where I was like, this is probably the best moment of the match. Is when Ospreay hit, what's the name of his one move? Not the elbow, the other one.
So there's the Os Cutter, the Hidden Blade, and the Stormbreaker.
The Stormbreaker. Yes. When you got him with the Hidden Blade and then the Stormbreaker, and then he's gonna get the pin. The match is over, and then Kenny Omega just gets his toe on the rope.
Oh my god!
Everyone realized it. Holy shit! Like that's another moment. Like,
yeah.
Here's the thing. The other match was a better match all around, but when it comes to actual moments, I would say this match actually
had better spots, maybe, or bigger, not better, like bigger
and more emotional spots.
Yeah.
Like that toe on the rope.
The toe on the rope, or like when Ospreay's just like got Kenny Omega's blood all over him, and he like licks it, and the crowd's chanting "You sick fuck," and he just turns to the hard cam and he just like, "Yep."
The one-winged angel and the toe on the rope are probably going to be the 2 moments from this match that everyone's going to be talking about. It's like, hey, do you remember when this happened, Omega and Ospreay, like that? I feel like this match has that more so than the other one.
Yes. And we were also doing a counter on our old show on Name Redacted channel over there, and we had like a tally of Dave Meltzer's wrestlers that had the most 5 or more star matches, and for a while there, Mitsuhiro Misawa had the lead. He had, I believe it was at 24, and now this match, the first Omega Ospreay match, Ospreay tied Misawa.
Yep.
This match here, the first one was 6 1/4 star. This match got 6 stars. So maybe that quarter star taken away for the Don Callis spot.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, now Will Ospreay has the most 5 or more star matches in the history of Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer Live. And of course, people online very angry about this and yelling and screaming at Dave, but it's like, guys, it's one guy's opinion.
Exactly.
Like, why do you have to be so mad? Like,
it's not sacrosanct. It's an opinion.
Yeah, and like, I'm just Googling it here. Wrestlers with most 5-star matches. Yeah, and really, like Meltzer was sort of he went on a whole spiel about it after he put out the ratings and people were freaking out at him online, basically saying like, people were screaming at him that Kurt Angle never got a 5-star match, or that like Shawn Michaels Undertaker match was not 5 stars, and he's like, but I gave it 4 3/4, which in turn means you're agreeing with me. If you're saying a 5-star, a match that he gives 4 3/4 star is 5 stars, that's like a quarter difference. That's like, that's like you saying that you thought the new Spider-Verse movie was a 10 out of 10 and me saying it was a 9.5. Like, and then you getting all mad at me because I said it was a 9.5. Like, why? It's opinions. Like,
basically what it comes down to is nitpicks.
Yeah. Like, for real. So I don't get why people get so mad at that, but Will Ospreay breaking the record. He now has 26 5 or more star matches, and with Misawa being retired, he's gonna, I think, fall down on this list more than you'd think. I mean, with these other retired guys, and then there's a big gap in between like the retired guys. We got Misawa, Kenta Kobayashi, Kawada, and then Shingo Takagi, who's at 16. There's a big gap between him and Kawada at 21. So Shingo could probably creep up a little bit, but it might be kind of tough. But I think at the end of the day, you're going to have Ospreay, Omega, and Okada sort of like dominating the top of this list for quite a few years. Because
because Okada, they got a little ways to go.
Right. Like, so Okada and Omega, while they're still a little bit older than Ospreay, they're all kind of like around the between 30 and 38 or whatever it is, right? So you figure like all 3 of those guys probably got a decade or more in them, at least at most. Fingers crossed, unless some horrible injuries, which the way that they go all out at these matches, like, but so fingers crossed there. But like, I do think that you're going to see a battle between those 3 because you got Ospreay with 26, Okada with 24, and Omega with 24. So, I think there's a lot more to come from those guys. And you got the G1 right around the corner. You're going to get Okada versus Ospreay again at that. So
Danielson's back at his like high level.
Yeah,
which that's the other match from Forbidden Door was my fucking god. Daniel Bryan,
yes.
Bryan Danielson.
Against
Okada. They mentioned Daniel Bryan on Money in the Bank during the main event because Roman was bragging he was going to pin them like he did Daniel Bryan and Edge at WrestleMania a couple years ago. But anyways, no, wrestled the last 10 minutes with a fucking forearm that was broken in half.
With a little, I mean, okay, so he goes on the post press conference afterwards, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be like, they broke my arm, but like it's gonna be a 6 to 8 week recovery, right?" Yeah. Well, not so much, because you had a post from his wife, Brie Bella, and I'm looking to see if I can find it. Yeah, so just a sensitivity warning here for the 2 people watching this on the replay. This is what it actually looked like here. So I'm going to just share my screen. So that is the full break right there. I mean, that is a total snap.
Enlarge it if you can.
Yeah, let's see here. That's a little better?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my God.
Wrestled for 10 minutes,
brutal.
And that's why the finish happened the way it was supposed to happen, because he was supposed to have him tap out to a label lock, like a proper label lock.
Jeez.
But he couldn't.
He had to get one arm around him and then like his leg kind of
feet, like I don't know how Okada's arm didn't snap at the same time. Like
oh man,
it's one of the most. Omega Ospreay was the better match, but this one was just fuck me on any other card.
Yeah. So with that injury, I don't think we're going to be seeing Danielson for quite a bit. Hopefully,
Dynamite they had because originally they weren't released. Takeshita wasn't really supposed to be Blackpool Combat Club, but it looks like he's going to be filming that role. for a while.
Right, because we got Blood and Guts coming up, which we'll talk about here in a second. But just to finish the thoughts on the Okada-Danielson match, I feel like there's going to be a rematch. Like this, they felt like it kind of was set up for that. And so with that injury, I don't know if 6 months is enough time to heal from that. That's going to be cutting a little close, but we do have like the big Tokyo Dome show.
Wrestle Kingdom.
But again, like, I don't know. We'll see if
anything's possible.
He's come back from worse, this guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's come back from worse. And with his lifestyle, he lives a healthy enough lifestyle. He probably can heal faster than most.
Possibly.
Because him wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom, because he said he's going back a few years now that he's always he wants to go wrestle in New Japan again, and what better way to do it in a rematch against Okada at Wrestle fucking Kingdom?
Yeah. And if you look at the calendar here, last year it was a little tough because you had the Tokyo Dome going on at the same time as that there was an AEW Dynamite.
Yeah,
so it's tough for them to send guys over. Yes, they did get the Kenny Omega Ospreay #1 match, but you look at the calendar this year coming up, January 4th is on a Thursday. So it would be a little tough, but in theory, you could fly guys over on the Wednesday and have them back in time for, or actually it'd be the other way around. So they do Dynamite, and then they fly over. But again, it would be a little tough to do for that Thursday morning because it's like Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So this year's going to be a little tough, but
you could give him the Omega treatment that Omega had last year.
Yeah,
you could have him do that spot.
You give like one big guy.
Yeah, and
then that'll be your guy. But
we're going to probably get Omega Ospreay 3 at
All In.
At All In. So that's where.
So we don't need to see that match again necessarily, is what you're saying at the
time. So I mean, so that's when you do Okada Danielson. That's the big match for that one.
That is the big match for that one. But speaking of big matches, this week on AEW Dynamite, they set up AEW Blood and Guts, which looks for now to be a 4-on-4 match. You have because Danielson is out, you have Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta with Takeshita as a 4-man team, probably against Omega, Hangman, and the Bucks, because
Eddie was in the ring and beat down.
Eddie Kingston is going to be wrestling in the G1 the same week as Blood and Guts, so he will be in Japan when they run that show. And then you think like, oh, if it's 5-on-5, you could just throw Shota Umino in there. Nope, he's wrestling the G1. You could get Ishii on the babyface team. Nope, he's wrestling the G1. So really nobody from New Japan and no Eddie Kingston are going to be in that match. So I do feel like they're going to kind of go back to a 4-on-4 scenario as opposed to a 5-on-5.
You know what? Storyline wise, works way better.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. If you have the 4 members of the Elite, I think a lot of people were hoping for like Kota Ibushi to come in and be their 5th guy, but maybe you could do that, later, like down the road, because they have been teasing that and setting that up for a bit now. But I think that makes the most sense to have it be a 4-on-4. And before, you probably would have had Danielson in there as that 4th guy and maybe Ibushi. But really, like, given both Danielson and Ibushi's history with like neck problems and all sorts of shit, it might be better off that they don't wrestle a Blood and Guts match. Like, just sit this one out, guys. Like,
let the younger people hurt themselves.
Yeah, right. Well, younger per se. I mean,
younger and Moxley.
But younger Takeshita and Yuta and and then everybody else.
Yuta and the Elite that have at her.
But
you're just crazy.
But man, I'm hyped for that Blood and Guts show. So I bought tickets for this show months and months ago in advance, not knowing what we were going to get. It was advertised as an AEW Dynamite at the Boston Garden on July 19th. And so I hopped on the pre-sale early and bought tickets in the 4th fucking row opposite the hard cam. Not on the floor, but in like the stands.
Yeah.
And now they've announced that show's going to be Blood and Guts. So, woo!
I hate you. I hate you so much.
So, like, holy fuck, I'm going to Blood and Guts. I didn't even know until this past week. So that's coming up in a couple weeks. And I'll definitely be posting some clips on this channel. I know we've been kind of neglecting content here the last couple of weeks. But again, it's the middle of the summer. Everybody's out and about.
Exactly.
We're both busy as fuck. And so, I mean, yeah, we should probably post more shorts because that'll get us more subscribers, but whatever. I've been kind of focusing on my other channel, the one that's kind of the sister channel or attached to this one over there at the Dagan Mall. I've been posting a lot of like music related stuff and really getting things going over there. So it's kind of tough with the middle of the summer and the work and all this other shit going on to also run and monitor 2 YouTube channels. Like I kind of have to hone my focus in, a little bit differently there. But I think we pretty much covered most of the topics we wanted to today. Do you have anything else, Soda? Any other points over the last couple weeks you want to bring up?
I'm sure recently we did. Well, yesterday, unfortunately, it was announced that Draws had passed away. So
yeah, that's true.
Career cut way too fucking short. So you'd want to touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a history of some real problems, and
but basically it was a normal move gone wrong. He paralyzed from the neck down, but fortunately he was able to regain some feeling in some of his upper body.
Right.
So that was good. But yeah, at age 54, yeah.
That's too young, man. That's just too young.
And what everyone says was like for a guy who had that happen to him, like the dude somehow remained incredibly positive.
Yeah, throughout it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, no, that's a real bummer. But didn't really want to end the show on a dour note. But yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. If anything big happened.
Well, I don't think we were prepared for this, but do we have anything for this day in wrestling history, or maybe this week? It is July. By the way, happy July 4th weekend, everybody, or Canada Day, whatever you celebrate there. But yeah, usually this can be a big week for wrestling. There's July 4th there tend to be a lot of like big shows. I don't know if like what we have coming up this week. I know tomorrow is the 4th. There'll be NXT on, but like who gives a shit about that? But like, yeah, it's definitely a hot time for pro wrestling.
Okay, so I've got this day in history. Thank you, TJR Wrestling, for doing the work.
There we go. Shout out to TJR Wrestling.
Okay, so in 1991 was day. So I don't know if you knew this, but the original Great American Bash was originally a touring attraction before it became okay. So in 1991, day one of the WCW Great American Bash tour was held in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and featured the announcement that Ric Flair had been stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship due to contractual disputes. This is after this is when he ended up in WWF.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean that's a big deal. That's I think the biggest one of any.
So this bring up American Bash, it's considered one of the worst ever.
Yeah,
like the one that ended up on pay-per-view because they basically like everything was built up to Ric Flair dropping the title to Luger, and then this happens. Ric Flair takes the title with them, and then all of a sudden, what the fuck do we do? All the plans are thrown up in the air.
Oh man.
Barry Windham versus Lex Luger, and the title they ended up using was like an old version of another title. Like it was just, and it's regarded as one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. But anyways, finish this. So on the show itself, this first of the tour, Steve Austin retained the WCW World Television title against Bobby Eaton, and in the main event, El Gigante, Lex Luger, Sting, and the Yellow Dog, who is Brian Pillman, defeated Barry Windham, Kevin Sullivan, Nikita Koloff, and One Man Gang in a War Games match.
Wow. That actually sounds pretty good. I might have to throw on the old Peacock for that one.
No, well, here's the thing.
Is it bad?
No.
Is it a bad match? Because it sounds awesome on paper.
These tours, they didn't record all of them.
Oh, that's true.
Because they're like house shows. They were house shows.
Yeah.
But I know there are some on the WWE Network, but I think they're from the 80s, those ones.
Okay. And what year, again, was this that you're...
91.
91. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
that's 32 years ago today.
Yeah. So on this day in 1994, at a taping of WWF Superstars in Ocean City, Maryland, Bret Hart defeated Bob Backlund to retain the WWF Championship. After the match, Backlund shook Hart's hand before quote-unquote snapping and slapping him before locking in the cross-face chicken wing, turning heel in the process.
Oh, man.
segment by staring insanely at his hands. So this was back when his heel turned from after being a long time face.
I think that gets the clip this week.
They want more heat.
More
okay?
heat, yes.
More heat, mate!
In 2001, at a taping of SmackDown in Tacoma, Washington, Billy Kidman defeated Shane Helms to win the Cruiserweight Championship, making it the first WCW title to change hands in a WWF ring.
Wow. Now that's a big deal, too.
All right. In 2006, on this day, in day 6 of the AJPW crossover was held in Tokyo, Japan. In the main event, Taiyo Kiya pinned Satoshi Kojima to win the
Satoshi Kojima.
Yeah,
we just saw wrestle CM Punk at Forbidden Door.
To win the AJPW Triple Crown Championship.
Wow.
And on the other side of the world as well, on Monday Night Raw in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Edge outlasted both RVD and John Cena in a triple threat no disqualification match to win the championship.
That's a good match. Okay, if I watch any of these, I have to go back and watch that one.
It was the first time the
Edge, JBL, and Cena in a triple threat?
No, Edge, RVD.
Edge, RVD, and...
Now, this is a historic match. Now,
okay.
Here's why. It was the first time the main title had changed hands on Raw in almost 5 years, the last time being Austin defeating Kurt Angle in October 2001. Now, however, you'll probably remember this. Going into the match, RVD was a double champion as he held the ECW title also. But the night before the show, him and Sabu got stopped for speeding, and the police found drugs in the vehicle. And RVD would lose the ECW championship the next
Oh my
show.
God!
He's suspended for a month.
Unfucking believable.
Yep.
RVD versus Cena versus Edge triple threat on Raw of all places, July 3rd, 2006. So that was let me do the math here. 17 years ago. No, 16 years ago.
17 years ago.
17 years ago. Oh my God, I'm old.
Come on. And then in 2016, day 6 of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kizuna Road was held in Iwate, Japan. On the show, Matt Sydal, Ricochet, and Satoshi Kojima beat the team of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks to win the never openweight 6-man tag team titles.
I feel like I've watched that match, and it's very good. And New Japan World probably has it. So.
And then notable wrestling birthdays today: Johnny Swinger, Vladimir Kozlov, and Shinya Hashimoto.
How old is Johnny Swinger? He's got to be like 50-something.
1975, so he would be 48?
Yeah, almost 50.
Yeah.
Dude, Johnny Swinger. Wow. Johnny Swinger, talk about the ultimate gimmick right there. That fucking guy.
We're going. Yeah, and then Vladimir Kozlov was born 1972. And then, Hashimoto was 1965, 3 years older than my mother.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, there you go, everybody. Some good history as we wrap up the show here today. Anything else going on, Soda, that you want to talk about or plug? We might have some new stuff here on this channel.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm debuting on Wednesday. This Wednesday.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So
me and for one viewer.
Yeah. Our one viewer and his mom. No, so starting Wednesday, it's going to be the debut of a show called Top Tier Wrestling. Myself and my buddy Dustin Dubuque, my old co-host over on the Squared Slice over in the Northern Entertainment Northern Entertainment Group. It's basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a top 10 list in the style of the Top 10 show by Matt Nost and John Roca. We're going to be doing it with wrestling. And this topic we're going to be doing, funnily enough, because of all this stuff going on with the Bloodline, is stables. We're going to be doing our top 10 stables. So we're going to come in with our own top 10 lists. We're going to make a collaborative one by the end.
And just to confirm, this show is not going to be on the Northern Entertainment Group. It is going to be right here on So-Dagan Wrestling. Yes. I am very excited for that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's me and Dustin has been a lot of stop and starts just because we've both been busy, but now our schedules are finally opened up and we're going to have time to do it. So yeah, we're going to be doing it about once a month. We're going to be doing it live. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you go. You can find Soda on the social medias at Soda_the Saxman. You can find me on the social medias primarily now on Instagram. Everybody, not fucking shithole over there that's just being burned to the ground by Elon Musk as we speak, just imploding in on itself. I feel like we're at the point where we should kind of just forget about Twitter and just promote our Instagram or any other social media that we have. I'm also on.
So look, that whole capital limit, view limit thing, that's gone. But also, I actually found a way around it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, basically, it's not 600 per account; it's 600 per device. So I can put my phone,
1,200.
Get around it.
Or there's another possible workaround. You could log out of your account and just view it on your browser.
And what was wild? It happened during Money in the Bank.
Oh my God! So all those people tweeting that couldn't. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh Lord! But yes, Instagram at Dagan SB, DAGAN SB. Also TikTok. This is a new thing that I've dived down a new rabbit hole here called TikTok, and I got some stuff over there that actually blew the fuck up recently. It went viral on a couple things. So
really,
if you're on TikTok, check it out. Dagan SB, same as Instagram and Twitter, at Dagan SB, DAGAN SB on TikTok. Check it out. It's kind of cool. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us here today. I think we'll be back next week, and we'll kind of do this more regularly after taking a couple weeks off. Funny that we came back on the holiday weekend. It would kind of normally be we would have done last week, but not this week, and then so on and so forth.
But it's weird, like it fell right between the holidays because for you it's tomorrow, for me it was Saturday.
Right. So it kind of didn't really affect things.
Not really,
there,
no.
But yeah, hopefully back next week and more regularly on Mondays right here in this channel, and keep an eye out for Top Tier later in the week and all sorts of other fun content down the line. We'll hopefully be doing some more shorts and things as the summer goes on. But again, we're both crazy busy and we got a lot of stuff. So thanks again. If you're watching this on replay, give us a like and hit that subscribe button and all that good stuff. And until next week, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.